Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a viewer-requested topic, which is after the big events on Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 9 this week, is to do an updated comparison between The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. Now, I did do this type of video last year, and the link for that will be in the description, comparing the series up to that point. But now that we've had some major events happen in Game of Thrones Season 3. Spoilers in this video, by the way. Some major character deaths. We'll get into it later. Please, anyone who's interested in watching the series is not caught all the way up. Don't watch this. This is not for you, because I don't want to spoil the big events at the end of Season 3 for Game of Thrones for you. But people have been asking me constantly in the comments, why do you feel like the deaths in The Walking Dead are okay, or you like them, or you like some of them because they evoke emotion? And why do you dislike some of the recent deaths in Game of Thrones? So, let's do it. So in this versus matchup, we'll start with the character deaths because that's a huge thing. One of the biggest elements of these series versus a lot of other television series, drama series, things of that nature, is that we do get to see main character deaths in both series, The Walking Dead and in Game of Thrones. Now, if you're somebody who follows my Walking Dead reviews, you'll know that I am not a fan of every single death. I'm not. Some people think that every time they kill a character in The Walking Dead, I'm like, yes, that was the perfect decision. That was exactly right. And if you've been following my videos, you know that that's not true. There are certain deaths that I feel like are fantastic and really well done, and it was the right time to kill off the character. It adds to the suspense of the series. It adds to the mortality of the characters in the show. It makes the show more suspenseful because you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know who's going to survive, who's going to die. And so, a character death can be a very good thing, but it's something you have to be very careful of when you're writing, of course. If you're going to kill off a main A-list character from a series, you better be damn sure you're doing it at the right time and it's handled well, and you're able to transition over to other characters in that series that people are going to be interested in seeing. If you kill off, for example, if you were to have a Batman television series, and you killed off Batman, guess what? Your series may then get canceled, because most people are not interested in watching Nightwing or Robin or these other characters. Even if you make one of them Batman, a lot of times it does not work. Sometimes it works at the beginning, but over the long run it does not work. So you have to be very careful when you're killing characters off. The Walking Dead, there are certain deaths in the television series that I do not support. One, for example, is the death of Andrea at the end of Season 3. I thought that was a bad death. I thought that character had a lot more in her and probably could have been used a lot better throughout the series. So I did not like that death. It was shocking. It was all of those things, but I didn't necessarily like it. Dale, another character from Season 2, near the end there, he died as well in what was a kind of a pathetic death. Not a death that is up to the character standards, I would say, or not an honorable death. He died kind of a weak death, not being able to defend himself against one walker. Bad death. The death of Laurie. Great death. Why? Well, okay, it does evoke emotion. It makes you feel really sorry for Rick, but also at the same time, we never really liked Laurie anyway. It's not like we were set up to really love her and then she dies. And yes, it's tragic. It's very tragic that she died in that series. However, at the same time, you never really liked her anyway. She was not perfect. She did a lot of things, like sleeping with Shane, doing this, doing that, all kinds of stuff that it just felt right. It felt like a correct death. It's interesting to see where Rick's character goes after that, what happens to him, and things of that nature. Now, here's the part that I really wanted to talk about, which is when people say The Walking Dead is the same thing as Game of Thrones with regards to deaths. They kill characters, yada, yada. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, it is not the same thing. Now, people try to say, oh, yeah, well, one's in a medieval and one's zombie apocalypse, Dark Ages zombie apocalypse type story. No. There are so many more differences than that. If you want to give the Walking Dead equivalent of Game of Thrones, here's what you would have to do. In the first season of The Walking Dead, you have to kill Rick Grimes. After he finds his family, after you get all those touching moments with that character, you have to kill him near the end. Not only do you have to kill Rick Grimes, but a zombie can't do it. It can't be a zombie that kills Rick Grimes. It's got to be some asshole other survivor dickhead that kills him. You've got to have, let's say, the governor at the end of season 1 come in and kill Rick, let's say. Okay? Let's add about 5 or 10 years to Carl's age, so he's about the same age as Robb Stark. Then you have to wait a season, have a war between a couple, the remainder of Rick's group and, let's say, the governor's group. Okay? And then you go through season 2, they fight all the way through, there's different character deaths on each side, and then you get into season 3, and near the end of season 3, Carl, okay, remember I added on about 5 or 10 years to his age, so he's actually, let's say, 20, and good with a gun, let's say, right? So then you have to kill him off as well. Even though he's trying to get revenge for Rick, for his father, the governor must kill him, or not even the governor, even worse than that. You have to get one of the governor's lowly men to kill him, or another group that's afraid of the governor to kill Carl. And Lori, let's say she dies at the same time with Carl. Okay, and then you have to have somebody like, I don't know who the hell. Oh yeah, you got to kill Daryl too, because he's a fan favorite. Or maybe not kill him, but you got to torture him a little bit, which they've kind of done that too with Merle in the TV series, granted, but he's still alive. You could make him the equivalent of Tyrion, let's say, in Game of Thrones. So okay, you let him stay alive and people will watch for him, just like in Game of Thrones, people will watch for Tyrion. True, but that would be the equivalency if you want to say they're the same thing. If you killed Rick in the first season of The Walking Dead, if you killed Carl, let's say he's older, just like Robb Stark, when he's trying to get revenge, and the governor's chilling there just fine. Everything's cool with him. He has now eliminated effectively both of them, or had a group under him, another survivor group or person, kill Carl after killing Rick. Now you have, and Lori too as well. And she's not a whore. She's just Lori. She never slept with Shane. None of that stuff ever happened. Now you have essentially the same story, or the equivalency of the story. If you change all those things and you have the series play out that way, that's not The Walking Dead. That's not the same series. That's not even close to the same thing. Rick is still alive. Yes, Lori died, but you never liked her anyway. Carl is still alive, even though in the comic book series, he's missing an eye. But that's besides the point. He's still kicking, and he's still tough as nails. So, it's crazy when people say to me, like, it's the same thing, how could you not like it? If you did that in The Walking Dead, I don't know if I would like The Walking Dead anymore. I would think, oh, that's crazy, yada yada, I'll keep watching for Daryl, and maybe, I don't know, some other characters from Michonne or somebody, other characters like that in the group. But if the governor was to just straight up like win and just kill Rick right away, and then win again in season 3, and he's just chilling there, and then maybe in season 4 or at the very end of season 3 afterwards, a character kills the governor, but it's one of the members of his own group, or some other survivors group or something, that has nothing to do with Rick's group and that group right there. You're dealing with that's a totally different series if you want to make that an equivalency of Game of Thrones. That's a totally different story. Tragic, yes, it's a plot twist, because you're expecting Robb Stark to come back and defeat the Lannisters. You would be expecting Carl to come back and defeat the governor in that type of circumstance. And it would be a big whoop, twisteroo if he didn't and died too. But it's like, you got to be really careful when you're killing off these characters. Because yes, it's tragic. Yes, it makes you feel sorrow. But when you kill off almost everybody that people are following and they like, that's a totally different story. That's a totally different thing. And I don't even know if I would have this behind me right here, if The Walking Dead was that way. If Rick was killed in the first season and Carl died trying to come back to the governor, and zombies didn't kill them, it was like some other survivor dude in the world, that's a totally different story, totally different situation. So with regards to the character deaths in Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, I think I rest my case that they're clearly not equivalent. And I don't like every death in The Walking Dead. I feel like some of them are at the wrong times, or I didn't enjoy it. I would have enjoyed, Game of Thrones would be one of my favorite series of all time. It may be even able to rival The Walking Dead in terms of what I like and my interest in and how much I like it. If Robb Stark would have came back and killed the Lannisters. If Robb Stark would have came back, avenged his father, killed the Lannisters, and everybody in the Starks would be okay, and then maybe later on have someone come and kill him, but have it be nothing to do with that. Have it be Stannis or somebody like that. Or Mance or somebody, Daenerys. I don't care. But have him in that story arc, take vengeance for his father, that might be one of my favorite stories of all time. Have him not. Have it be tragic. Have it be a twist. You're dealing with a different situation entirely. Entirely different. Entirely different. So, the stories are obviously not the same. If you want to see just a more general comparison of one versus the other, again, I'll put it in the description. It's an older video, but it's still applicable to right now. And I just had to get this video out there, you know, talking about the character deaths, letting you guys know how I feel about, you know, like people saying, you know, oh, you love The Walking Dead so much, how come you didn't like these deaths in here? Because I don't like it when people that, you know, writers just kill characters for shock value and also just to make it suspenseful and go against what the reader thinks. Like just to make us think it's going to go this way, and then boom, it's a plot twist. It's a double twist. You know, Ned loses and then Robb loses. It's a double twist. But I don't like when writers typically do that. You know, and some people from GOT, they'll attack me personally. They'll say things like, you know, maybe it's too complicated for you. Maybe the story is too complicated for you. You have a bachelor's degree in science. You're genius level intellect when it comes to an IQ, when it comes to math and logic. And you've created this YouTube channel where you have almost 30,000 subscribers in your spare time. Plus you have a full-time job. Plus you're extremely successful for your age. But I'm going to insult you because you feel differently about a tragic story than I do. It's too complicated for you. You know, most of these people say it's too complicated for me. Probably, like, in terms of success or IQ, I don't want to compare, but if you compared me to them, I would squash them in probably every category. So, just to defend myself a little bit, to put it back out there, it has nothing to do with that. It's not complexity. It's that, you know, I don't necessarily like when you go that kind of a route. That's a depressing route. It might be the unusual route to take. It might be unexpected. It might be a plot twist that goes down that route, but that is a depressing place to be in. The Walking Dead is not a depressing series necessarily. They're trying to survive in almost impossible circumstances. It's exciting. It's suspenseful. Yes, characters do die. Sometimes it's unjust. But you don't have just like a villain or a bad guy like the governor completely winning, killing your main character, and then killing his son and his whole family, and then have us want to still watch and still want to be interested in it afterwards. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. So, just to do that, to address the trolls, and also to kind of add to my comparison I did a little while ago, not saying that Game of Thrones is a bad series or anything. It's just not my favorite. It's not my cup of tea, per se. I'm going to still review it and still watch it, because I put all this time and invested into it, and the videos do really well. But at the same time, you know, don't compare it to The Walking Dead. Please don't compare it to The Walking Dead. It is nothing like The Walking Dead. Aside from the fact that characters die in both series, do not compare it to The Walking Dead. Anyway, I think I've gone on for long enough. I've argued my points, explained my position. You don't have to agree with me, but you have to respect it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'll call it here. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.